Well, with that final segment of this episode, I think it's very clear now what the cover picture of Love and Lies means. You know, the cover picture where you see the main female character, she's doing this over her mouth? Well, now we understand, because she is lying to the other two characters, which I don't really fault her for that. I mean, normally, when I watch a romance, drama series, slice of life, usually I would hate a character for lying to said other characters. However, her position in this romance, this series, and being the childhood friend at that, she's at a disadvantage. And automatically, I feel bad for her because she loves Neji, but at the same time, she realizes that if she sticks around him, she might hurt him. And she realizes it might be better if she just lets him go. However, because she loves him so much, she can't let him go. Which goes back to the main thing about love. Love is illogical. You can't really put logic to love. And her lying and not telling Neji and Rina, you know, that they love each other or they have feelings for each other now, it makes sense. It's human nature. That is complete human nature for what she is doing. So I don't really fault her for that. Normally, I would be kind of pissed, but the way that was structured with this episode, I'm personally fine with it. However, this episode does give a lot of clarification when it comes to the relationships. Number one, Rina, she is developing feelings for Neji. She is definitely starting to fall in love with him. However, she is unaware of this. She doesn't really realize that she is starting to love him. She cares deeply about him, and when he is not there, she is lonely, which is like signs of love. And since this is like her first time ever really loving someone, she really doesn't know what it means at all. She has no experience. Neji, he's starting to develop feelings, but he doesn't even really realize because he's conflicted right now. He's conflicted by obligation to be with her, and he doesn't realize that he is developing feelings for her. It's not just like, oh, I want to, you know, make sure she's happy. He actually is starting to care about her. So, I like this. I like how Love and Lies has made the situation with the romance a little bit more complicated, but at the same time, though, add a little bit more clarification if Rina will eventually try to go for the MC or not. Now, the big thing about this episode that I really liked was the government employee, the silver-haired dude, that revealed information about himself. Now, he didn't go out of his way and tell Neji that he was the person in, like, the story, but he definitely was the guy in the story, because you saw the redhead girl, which is another government employee girl, which we have saw recently. So when you look at it like this, I mean, obviously the story he was saying was based on his life, what he had to go through, and what he's been doing in the last episode and this episode, even though in some ways many might look at it as if he's being an asshole, he's actually going out of his way to help out Neji. He's trying to help him out and give him advice in the best way he possibly can, which is kind of against what he probably should do, because his job is to do the, like, red string of science. He's supposed to make people fall in love with each other, you know, pair people together and hope they love each other and all that. So technically, him going out of his way and talking to Neji like this is kind of like he's going against what his job is about. However, the reason why he's doing this is because he cares about individuals that face the shit he went through. And in this case, he regrets. He has deep regrets for what he did with his life, how he made certain choices, and it's very human as well. In life, when you're living, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has regrets. There is not one person in this world that probably does not have a regret. Everyone has a regret. Even if it's something small, like, oh, I should have got a chocolate candy bar instead of like a mint chocolate or something. Everybody has regrets, depending on what it is. It can be small or big, it doesn't matter. Everybody has that, and he has regrets. He has these regrets he's held on to for a very long time since he was in school, and he cannot get rid of them because he feels like he could have done something much different if he had the courage to step up and do what he wanted to do at the time, and he kind of lied to his own self, his heart, which is a very sad and tragic moment, because the character reveals that he gave up the girl he loved. He was dating her, and then the notice came in, and then he gave her up because he felt like he couldn't give her happiness, like the proper happiness that she deserved. And so he gave her up before she could have a better shot at a career, and so he decided to just break it off with her and say, like, I can't be with you, marry the person that you're paired with. And so I'm sad for the man. I'm very sad, but at the same time, though, he lacked courage, and he realized he did, and he's like, fuck, like, I should have followed my heart after looking back. The thing is he can never take that back, because no matter what he wants to do, there's just no way he could take back what he did. It's already said and done. I mean, there was a lot of focus on, you know, the wedding band, like, on her finger in this episode when he was talking about, which shows that she is happily married. And I bet that entire conversation in the last episode, when we had, like, that sex ed course, most likely since he was in the crowd, I bet that man probably feels very conflicted and upset, because when she's talking about, like, sex and stuff, how it just feels good and all that, you gotta realize from his point of view, he probably is like, fuck, like, this is kind of upsetting, because, I mean, technically he loves her, and then seeing her sleep with someone else, that's obviously going to hurt him quite a bit. So, yeah, I do like the complicated relationship between those two characters, and I don't know if it's going to get a lot of focus. I don't know if it will be a thing that continues to build up in the background or not, but I do like those two characters. I did like the characterization, so I would like to see more of them. I really would, but I don't know if they'll get any more focus, but I definitely would like to see more of them in this series, especially after what I saw in the latest episode. Anyways, though, one of the other things about this episode is the main male character, he is very upset with himself. As we know, in the last episode, the silver-haired government employee, he is like, we have cameras watching you and all that. You're going to have to, you know, sleep with her because you'll get a penalty. Like, he thought he was going to get a penalty, and then, you know, they were all watching, so he was just going out his way to make sure that she wouldn't get in trouble, he wouldn't get in trouble, and he was just putting on an entire act. And in the way he did that, it was very rude, because it wasn't the fact that he went out of his way to kiss her. It wasn't just that he forced himself on top of her, which was kind of messed up. But the point is when he did kiss her, she is obviously developing feelings for him. And since she doesn't really understand these feelings, when he was saying like he was just doing this for another reason besides actually loving her, that's like shitting all over her pride, her feelings. And you gotta feel bad for her in that moment, but he didn't realize how much he fucked up in that moment either. And he was thinking about it constantly like, holy shit, what I did was really wrong. And I did like the exchange between the characters and how they were kind of distant. It wasn't the stereotypical drama I'm normally used to, just seeing just like melodramatic drama. The drama that was showcased in this episode, it wasn't like seinen or josei level mature, but it was definitely way more mature than I'm used to. So I did appreciate that fact of the episode, with how they just weren't yelling and screaming at each other. It wasn't dragged on for episodes. They just had some distance, and then eventually he was trying to make up to her and, you know, say sorry, and then eventually she wrote him a letter. So I do like the exchange and how the drama was handled in this episode. It was definitely a good way to show how the writer handles these type of things for the series, so I personally have no problems. Anyways, that's about it when it comes to the episode. So let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about this latest episode? How do you feel about our two main female characters? Who do you think should win our MC? I mean, after what we saw from Rihanna in this episode, after what we saw from our main female character, the childhood friend, who do you think deserves to have Neji? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.